Okay, good evening, Philadelphia Eagles fans. Good evening, NFL fans, to week 11 of the 2020 football season. With this week, our Philadelphia Eagles are 3-5-1, first place Philadelphia Eagles in the horrible NFC East. Fly or drive, whatever. Fly to Cleveland to play the 6-3 Cleveland Browns in a game that is pretty much going to be the last time we see a team like this for the next month. I say like this, but I also have to say the record because, I don't know, Cleveland's not so bad because they're 6-3, way better than my 3-5-1 Philadelphia Eagles, but they're beatable. But before I get into all this, I promised, because I got a good buddy of mine, Javier, that made a comment on my Eagles-Giants video. I spoke too soon, a little too confident about my Eagles, and told him that he sucked and that his Giants sucked and that we're going to make it 9 in a row. Well, his Giants put a giant foot in my Eagles' tail and they won by 10 points last week, 27-17. So I am the kind of guy that I'm going to step up to the plate and say, I was wrong, Javier. Your team was better than mine. Just flat out, nobody had any turnovers or whatsoever. Straight up, you just beat us. So I am going to say sorry. I'm still going to tell you suck. No, love you, bro. You even had on your comment, we served in the Navy together. Always, you're an awesome dude. And yeah, wish you luck for the rest of the season. I hope you guys don't come back and win the division, but it's more than possible, especially in the NFC East. So I'm looking forward to seeing you and hearing from you always. But yeah, the Giants played flat out better than my Eagles. So shout out to you, Javier, here from Philly. Now let's get that love fest out of the way, and let's stop talking about the stinking Giants. Now they put a foot in our butt and had Dave Jones looking like Lamar Jackson running all over the place again. I can't believe it. And we're going to see this guy for a long, long time. So we better figure that mess out before that becomes too much of a habit every single year. I kind of enjoy beating the Giants over and over again every single year. And now that streak is broken. We were running into a 2-game winning streak. I was hoping to make it 3 in order to head into this week trying to get above 500. Now, in the horrible NFC East, 3-5-1 is still good enough for first place. We play the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to tell you why I believe they're beatable, but at the same time, after this game becomes the gauntlet of Seattle, the Packers, the Saints, and the Cardinals. Not a fun run for my Philadelphia Eagles. This is the last time that we're going to be heading into a game against what I consider a beatable team, but still a good team at 6-3. And we'll see how this goes. I'm going to jump right into it. Steve, by the way, yes, I'm going to give you a shout out. You're a Cleveland Browns fan that actually admits it out in public. So I know I'm going to probably hear from you. Steve, good luck. I think you're beatable, but your team right now is showing that you're better than us. But I hope we get a chance to, what we will tomorrow, see who really is the better team, and I hope it's my Birds. I'll start. I'll start on the negative. Oh my gosh, like Wentz has been frustrating and discouraging this season. Wentz and Doug Peterson. Look, we need some creativity and we need some consistency. And that has not happened. Now, last week, Wentz, he did not give up the ball. Yay! But, it's like celebrating a participation trophy. I get it. You didn't have any turnovers. It's kind of like your job. We lost the game. We lost 10 points to the Giants. Not fun. Don't want it. On top of that, no creativity and did not stick with the run. Kind of drives me nuts when you have, I believe, Miles Sanders for qualifying carries for the year, leads the league in yards per carry. Last week he had 5.7 yards per carry. He had 15 rushes. If you're rushing for 5.7 yards a carry, you should easily have over 20 rushes. And combined, you should have over 30 plus rushes for your running back. Because Boston Scott Yeah, I know he had the long touchdown run. He had 3 rushes and he averaged 21 yards per carry. Now, obviously, that's inflated because he had that long run that kind of looked like he might have stepped out of bounds, but they didn't overturn it because it was too close. I'll take it. But if your running backs are averaging that much, you should be running the ball all day. Control the clock, keep the defense off the field, score points. It makes too much sense, and it just drives me nuts why it seems like we have to throw the game on the shoulders of Carson Wentz. And then whether he produces or not, like we end up in the spots that we are, and then we're just fighting to try to stay in the games at the end of the game. We barely beat the Giants before, and then this last week they just crushed us, or beat us. People talking about that, I'm gonna jump all over the place, I don't care. People talk about their 2-point conversion, it made sense. Numbers wise, if you think about it, this is something I've had to talk about with people that ask me this question all the time. Why do we go for 2? If we would have kicked the extra point near the end of the game, it'd have been 21-18. We'd have been a field goal away, and then we could have tied it. Yes, right. But then if we get the 2-point conversion, and look what the Giants actually did to kick 2 field goals, we would have still been in the game with a 1-score game if we had 19 points. So if you look at the dynamic of that makes sense on paper and analytics. But the argument against that, because I'm always going to do both sides of it because I don't want people to think they're completely, I'm not sitting here like, oh, you're retarded. No, I get it, because if you look, we didn't convert a 3rd down. That is just horrible. And so we had to go for it on 4th down like all the time because we can't convert a 3rd down, which is like pathetic. So if I know you got analytics, but you look, it's like, hey, look, we haven't covered anything, so we need to get something. It was just, play calling has been very frustrating. On top of every single week, I'm going to keep saying this until it actually happens. I don't know if we're going to save this for one of the games against like the Seahawks, the Packers, the Saints, or Arizona, but Greg Ward has not thrown a pass yet. The reason why I say this is Greg Ward was a college quarterback, and we need some creativity. We need to keep the defense off their, from just coming at us all the time because they know what to expect. We need to have like Hurts on the field, because having him on the field, having the running game that we actually have, we just don't fully utilize, and having another legitimate quarterback on the field at the same time is absolutely dangerous if you use it right. We need to do that. We absolutely need to do that this week. Look, we don't have to score that many points. Now, look, I looked all at Cleveland, and they're definitely beatable, especially if you look at the last 4 games. Last 4 games, they scored 7 points against the Steelers. Steelers spanked them, 38-7. Okay, then they came back and scored 37 points against the Bengals. I'm not going to say the Bengals are horrible because they kind of smoked Tennessee, right? But the Browns also scored 30. I think the first game was like 35-30. So they obviously have like a high-scoring deal going on between the two of them. So fine, they scored 37. But against the Raiders, they scored 6 points. And the Raiders beat them 16-6. And then they squeaked out a win against the Texans last week, 10-7. So look, like in the last 4 games, there's 3 games they scored 7, 6, and 10. That's just a little bit over 7 points a game in those 3 games minus that one against the Bengals. So if we score like 14 points and don't give up some crazy like trick play like Jarvis Landry to Beckham or vice versa, which I fully expect, because it just seems like we just totally get caught off guard by teams, other teams running trick plays, but we choose not to do it ourselves. If that doesn't happen, we should be able to hold this team to like 10 points or less and then win a low-scoring game. Being honest right here, my faith right now in the Birds is like going like right down the crapper. I'm glad at least one of the Philadelphia teams is making some moves. I'm watching my Sixers, and then they're making lots of moves, and I'm happy for that. Even though, like, out of all the teams, they're probably like one of my least favorite Philadelphia teams. But I'm a Philadelphia like no matter what, and it's weird. Like the one that has the most promise is actually the Flyers. Who knows what the heck's going on with the Phillies? The Eagles are in first place, but they absolutely suck at 3-5-1. Like, what in the world is going on? COVID-19 and like the shutdown's happening again, and So, like, my faith in the Eagles and losing to the Giants the way that we just did, being 3-5-1, not being creative, everybody's getting sick and injured, and, Alshon Jeffrey comes back and really doesn't make a difference whatsoever. Zach Ertz is nowhere to be found. This is a weird stinking. This is like the worst year ever. I don't know, like, what's going on with you, but we gotta find a way. Like, at least this week, I'm gonna be at home watching the game, 1 o'clock. We gotta find a way this week. We have to, especially with the gauntlet coming. I am not looking forward to playing Seattle. So, because Russell Wilson is just like, the guy's amazing. I was watching him against Arizona, and the guy was like rushing over this way before the line of scrimmage. Zing! Touchdown, DK Metcalf. I'm like, we could have drafted both those guys. No, I'm still happy we drafted Nick Foles because we got a Super Bowl out of him. But I'm not looking forward to next week whatsoever. I never predict a loss, but next week is going to be challenging. So this week against the Cleveland Browns, please, so we can get the 4-5-1 and like, I think whatever team has like 6 wins in the NFC East is going to win it. It's horribly pathetic that is the truth, but I think 6 wins, almost definitely 7 wins is going to do it, and we need this win big time. I never thought if you were going to say one team was going to be 6-3 and the other one's going to be 3-5-1, I would say it would be the Browns, but no, the Browns are 6-3, and we have the crusty record. We need to pull a rabbit out of the hat or whatever it might be to beat the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I just said that out loud. I want to do a Go Birds, but I don't want it to be phony. But it's my team. No matter what. This is what it's like being an Eagles fan during the Bear years when things are going to be like, after a Super Bowl win. Go Birds. I hope we beat the Cleveland Browns. Javier, you still suck!